here's Brody Brazil.
So right now we're about 2/3 into a Major League Baseball season that has looked a lot different for a lot of different reasons. Here in 2020, there have been new procedures, new protocols, and obviously no fans in the stands, all of this to keep everybody safe during a pandemic. But there have also been some rule changes, things to make games more efficient, and maybe even for the league and the players to potentially experiment during this 60-game season. And I've got to say, looking back, a pandemic is really the only reason why Major League Baseball would even be this flexible with rule changes. For example, the extra inning format, starting with a runner on second after the 9th inning of play. Also having the designated hitter in the National League and even the 7-inning doubleheader format. Again, these are desperate times which call for desperate measures, things that the league wanted to fit in and in some case needed to do to make a 60-game and 66-day season a reality. And I have to say, for as much as a lot of these new implementations are disliked in terms of keeping them for the future, I think they should actually stick with the extra inning rule. I know, it's crazy. I think starting in 2021, it should become a regular thing that every half inning starts with a runner on second base. Now, I know baseball traditionalists, they're going to hate this. Relief pitchers, they're also going to hate this. But if you're not in one of those groups, and chances are you may not be, you may actually like this idea. It's different, obviously. It's a huge departure from what we've seen from baseball across 100+ years. Putting a runner on second base with nobody out in extra innings of a tied game, that is so critical to the final outcome of the game. What it does, clearly, it makes every at-bat, every half inning, that much more important. It adds pressure, let's be honest, which instantly makes it more entertaining and to finally see how this game will conclude in a more abbreviated way, let's just say. Because I can't tell you how many times I watched a dormant extra inning baseball game drone on, where the 10th inning becomes the 12th inning, becomes the 14th inning. And you know what happens? Excitement turns into fatigue at that point. Because I think you would all have to agree with this. You can only be on the edge of your seat for so long. And I don't mean like 5 minutes versus 7 minutes or 9 minutes versus even 18 minutes. I'm talking about you can't be on the edge of your seat for an extra hour and a half. At some point, unless it's a playoff game or one that has those kind of implications, a lot of people are just going to not feel the same way, shift away from it. They're just not going to have the same connection to the game as if you knew it was imminently going to be decided. And not to mention, when we get to the 14th inning of a baseball game and there's the old rules and, even a base runner is exciting. You have players getting and taking at bats at 12:45 a.m. Is that normal? Is that right? Is that what you really want? Think about a movie for a second. A good movie always has a strong beginning, a middle, and an end. And all three of them need to be in proportion. If the beginning is too long, if they keep introducing you too long, you're like, all right, get on with it. If the middle is too long, you're like, nah, this thing is dragging on. I like the start. I don't know when we're going to get to the end. You start checking your watch. And if the ending is too long, and I think that's what we're dealing with here in baseball, it could turn a good movie into one that you walked away from and said, you know what, it didn't hit for me the same way that it could have if it ended earlier and ended differently. And I know, movies and baseball, they're not exactly the same thing. This is apples and oranges, but you can see how something loses its luster if it doesn't have a strong, reasonable finish. So, look, I'm not opposed to the other rule changes as well. I think it's been interesting to see what 7-inning doubleheaders look like. I think it makes it more manageable for teams and pitching staffs and players to go through these days. And you know what? If you want to keep it at 162 games, maybe have 5 doubleheaders of 7 innings each a season. And I think players would be a lot more agreeable to that than the traditional format. I'm also not opposed to having the designated hitter in the National League, to be quite honest. I like seeing pitchers hit. I like the strategy of knowing that a pitcher's at-bats are coming up, and it makes the game more multi-dimensional. I like that, but I can also see how that might be going away soon. But just going back to the one thing that if I had to make one change from 2020 to hopefully 2021 and what could be a more normal Major League Baseball season, the one thing that I would keep out of all this if I had the choice was to go with the new extra inning format and always start with a runner on second base.